Hey, we are live. I am delighted that we have an episode out right now. We are live with Dr. Madalena Petrisco and Chris Agafi. Dr. Madalena, Chris, welcome to the Swift Healthcare Live episode. Delighted you're here.
Thank you, Patrick, for having us.
Yeah, thank you. We're super honored and excited to be here with you, and we're really, aligned with the same vision that you have. So thank you.
I'm so glad. I'm glad you're here. And y'all, if you're watching this live, if you're watching a taping, I was on a call with Madalena and Chris this morning, and they shared with me this amazing intention and trip they had planned. And I said, we've got to do a live show at the preface of this. So this is. Stay tuned here, folks. Listen to this amazing stuff that's going on here. And I want to encourage folks to engage here. So if you're watching, drop a note, say hi. Love to see folks engaging here. But here's the context. Here's a setting, okay? There is a Washington Post article out to help get a sense of having Madalena and Chris on the show. There's a Washington Post article out. I'm going to read you William Wan, published in April issue just a couple weeks ago. A year into the pandemic, he wrote, many others are considering changing their professional intention in healthcare. He went on to quote a Washington Post Kaiser Family Foundation poll. Roughly 3 in 10 healthcare workers have weighed leaving their profession. More than half are burned out, and about 6 in 10 say stress from the pandemic has harmed their mental health. It's an incredible article by William Wan in Washington Post. I want to encourage people to go to the Washington Post, search William Wan, find his article about healthcare burnout. But here we have an amazing couple, Madalena Petrisco and Chris Agafi. And I'm having us talk about burnout. I'm having us talk about the fact that our colleagues, I'm a healthcare provider myself. I'm a former CEO. I'm a healthcare consultant and a psychologist. And Madalena is a physician, and Chris is married to a physician. And she is an amazing physician in the Seattle area, a cardiologist, highly recognized and revered. Madalena, let me ask you if you could introduce yourself to our listeners a little bit about what you're up to.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I thank you, Patrick. This is great. I work as a cardiologist at Swedish Medical Center in Seattle, and I am the specialist in structural heart or valvular heart disease. So I'm the director of the Echo Lab there. And I also am the head of the imaging program for the structural heart, the transcatheter procedures. And I've been working there for, my goodness, it's been like since fellowship. So almost, 14, 15 years. It's crazy.
Wow, long time. Wow.
And the thing that we are up to, that's totally earth-shaking in medicine, because people just don't do this stuff, is that I am taking a sabbatical. I have decided on it, and actually today is day one of sabbatical.
Yes. Today is day one of sabbatical. And yes. I want to acknowledge also that Chris has been watching this journey as a spouse of a physician. Chris being a life coach, coaching in the work that he does. In the work that I'll add, Madalena and Chris are doing some amazing work, HeartQ, and some wonderful work in supporting healthcare professionals and people in general and addressing burnout. But Chris, acknowledging the great work you're doing, what's it like watching Madalena practice in cardiology and consider doing something like taking a sabbatical?
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm so happy, first of all, that she is doing this, that she has taken this step. And I can tell you that from my point of view, from the point of view of observing her, it's been a very interesting journey, and also in many ways painful to me, because I know that the work, that the energy and the commitment that goes into being a physician and a cardiologist, and now, of course, with the pandemic, I've seen her work incredible hours and put in a lot of effort. And many times I was concerned. For her own health. Her being a healthcare provider, I was concerned about her health. And of course, all of this took a toll on our family as well in terms of time. And I'm just so grateful that this is possible, that she made this possible, and that we are taking this step.
Yeah, that's a huge blessing. And there are and I'm acknowledging 6 in 10 say stress of the pandemic has affected their mental health. 3 in 10 considering leaving the profession. There are a lot of folks going through transition right now. You're in a fortunate position to be intentional about what you want to do. So this is a rarer story of a physician who's not quitting medicine, a physician who is also keeping the intention to serve, but then how do you go about doing that? So Madalena, what are y'all up to? What's the plan here? What's the big reveal? I want to ask you about that. What is your plan here?
Well, so, the thing is this, when it comes to like the job that I do and just in this profession of cardiology, I mean, knows, like, I love my job. I love like my job as a cardiologist. I love the people I work with. I love serving patients. Like, it's a really beautiful, fulfilling job. But I'm going to be honest here, like being a female cardiologist in this really specialized, difficult field in cardiology, life and death situations, it's very intense. It's intense. There's long hours. It's rigorous. There's so much pressure. There's so much to do, early in the morning until late. And then balancing that with and holding multiple directorship positions, which I actually had stepped down from a couple of them, balancing that with being a mother of 2 girls, 9 and 12, and balancing that with being a wife of my wonderful husband who doesn't see me that much, and with, the notion of self-care, another foreign concept for physicians, right? Self-care, and having time for passion things that, heart that we're doing. It's really tough. That balance, it's really difficult. And I think, what happened to me, I really went above and beyond to really put my heart and soul in what I'm doing and to really create the best state-of-the-art programs and to serve patients and to be there for everyone and to go above and beyond. And then I just ran dry and depleted. And, we're trained in medicine, like in fellowship, that you can just keep going. Even if you're dry and depleted, you can just keep going because you just resilience, And I just got to this point where I said, this is not what life is about. This is this burnout and this pressure of spending all my life, what I have to do, what I need to do, what I need to show up at, running on empty. It just got to this point where I just paused and I had this tough, I was honest with myself, I'm like, what am I really doing here? Because we're running on the treadmill so much, all of us, let's run, let's do, and the system doesn't set us up for success to have balance. It totally doesn't. True. And then I literally said, where am I going to keep going if this continues? Is this really what my life is about?
Yeah. So acknowledging that the why is clear and I love that you're talking about self-care. And for viewers, listeners, this is about self-care and being intentional about how to prevent yourself from falling apart, the burnout. How do we nurture oneself? And so you're making a conscious decision, the two of you, to travel. So taking this sabbatical, where are you going and what's the plan?
Yeah, the plan is basically, we said, you know what? In this intense journey of cardiology, 20-year plus, including the training, all my life has been about doing, serving, all the things I have to do, need to do, all the pressure. And now we're going to take this space of 3 months and literally just do whatever we feel like. We're just going to give ourselves that freedom to just be excited and be open to what do we want to do? What do we love? Questions that I never really gave myself that permission to. And so what we said, well, what do we really want to do? What is it that we feel like doing, right? Now what we're expected to do or we have to do and all of these things the system tells you to do. So we said, we want to deeply connect to myself and as a family, to myself, with our girls. And we want to be present to other things in life besides just, medicine. So we're going to travel. And we're being pulled by Spain. We're going to go to Spain. We're being pulled by Greece.
Yes.
And, Tulum. If Bali was open, we'd be over there. So we'll just see where life takes us. But it's this beautiful time to just be in flow with life and to just be open to have this freedom of just doing what we feel like giving ourselves a gift and that permission,
And
I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just going to quickly add that, we live such fast-paced lives, right? And everything is organized and scheduled to the minute almost, right? This is just the kind of society and culture that we live in. And so we wanted to, in this sabbatical, do something completely different, go against that, intentionally. And so the plan is to just not have that many plans, just taking one step at a time and then just seeing, okay, what pulls us, what what feels right for us,
Yeah.
which is very different than what the life that we live on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Totally
I
different.
appreciate that, because there's a give and take. There's the play of the Shakti, the energy, the spirit, your life. And there's a comment that someone put, and I want to put that up here. Jarrett Patton, MD. Many are leaving because of burnout, abuse, and stress. It is time for many to get some control back in their life. Hashtag license to live. I love that, Dr. Jarrett. I love you for posting that. Love you for the comment. Shout out to you and your comment about taking back control in life. I want to acknowledge, Madalena and Chris, you're making a conscious decision to do something for your self-care. And I want to acknowledge that this is extreme is not the word, but it's the ultimate, the mega, and it's inspiring. It's inspiring that you're doing this, that you're going to be traveling in foreign countries, especially in an era of COVID, et cetera. Timothy Poor, I got to add this in here. Make sure where you go doesn't have cell phone service.
That is the
Totally.
plan.
Actually,
Love it.
I love that.
Yes.
So of the point I was making, I love that, Timothy. Thank you, sir. But about that self-care. And so you may be able to, you're a paragon of doing something amazing, sabbatical, going into the heart, the hub vault sacred spaces, going there to Rome, Rome in the heart. And but because you may not be able to travel, but that doesn't mean you can't do some self-care. So being inspired by you, Chris and Madalena, it's an opportunity to think for those watching. Heck, it's Friday afternoon. Well, it's Friday afternoon in the East Coast and West Coast. I think you hit slow time there.
We are.
But Madalena, Medina Estefan, a physician in Paris, who I've been collaborating with, amazing physician. This is a global thing. We've got listeners for the podcast in South Africa and Australia and all over, and great leadership. Jonathan Fisher, Dyke Drummond, Dr. Z, they all have these amazing podcasts and resources for us to think about. How do we take care of ourselves? How do we address what's going on? And here you, Dr. Madalena, and Chris are making a leap to get out there and do some cool stuff. So I want to help get the word out about what you're doing, because I want to help folks know, if I can get, managing the show as we're doing this, but you've got some social media, and there's going to be some delicious reels, videos, pictures. If you can't hop on a plane like y'all are doing soon, you can hear the Texas coming out of me. If you can't hop on a plane like y'all are doing soon, you can live vicariously through Madalena and Chris. So tell us your social media plans while you're in Spain and Peru and wherever else the universe leads.
And Chris, yeah.
Yes.
Well, we just decided, let's just authentically, show and bring others with us, the whole point of, as we get inspired, let's bring others along on this journey of ours, and be open about it. And this is something that we're very excited about. And so we're going to be on Instagram and under Madalena Petrescu, Chris and Madalena.
Chris and Madalena, yes. The handle will be Chris and Madalena, and then on Facebook.
My name Madalena Petrescu and Chris Agafi, and we're just gonna literally be open to and be present to all aspects in life, and just take a break from this treadmill that this kind of traps people in this way of being that just doesn't feel good. It takes you out, takes the juice out of what life is really meant to be about.
Yeah, beautiful. And so I want to encourage guests, if you want viewers, if you do follow them on Instagram, I hope you do. And when you see their stuff, it is a reminder that you also can take time for yourself. You may not be in Spain, but you may be able to wake up in the morning and take a moment for yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, who will? And that self-care, that well-being. So I'm imagining y'all having a cup of coffee in Spain and posting a picture. Of course, I love my coffee. I mean, people tell me not to drink coffee during the show. I'm drinking it anyway. You're not supposed to drink when you're on a show. Whatever, I don't care.
You have to follow your heart, Patrick.
Yeah, you got to follow my heart. My heart leads me to coffee.
Exactly.
So I'm looking forward to some pictures of coffee. Were there any surprise reactions that you got from folks when you let them know that you were thinking about making this and then you made the leap? Were there any pleasant surprises or unpleasant surprises about people's reaction to what you're doing?
I have to say that was a journey in itself, and he was part of my journey, because the thing that I was afraid to do most is what turned out to be a gift, and I think a blessing for everyone. Because once I realized, I said, what do I really want to do? And I said, I'm doing this. Like, this is something my soul needs, my heart needs. Like, I want to take care of me. Once I decided that, I'm just going to be authentic to people and just be open. And I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit kind of, the very tough people don't even take vacations because they're trying to be productive and have so much work to do. They don't even take vacations, let alone, what happened is, like, I just showed up authentically. I was exactly on point about, why am I doing this? And kind of like, I think as I shared my story, I think that what happened is, surprisingly, every single person that I talked about this really, like, opened up, and I felt like realized things about themselves, like realized, oh, I'm just running on the treadmill. I'm not serving myself. I'm just doing, giving, but I'm not. So I think people had all these inner realizations, like aha moments, and people really honored me and really respected and really valued and like cheering me on and supported me. And they, they realized the gift of that. They almost, like, because people don't do that in medicine, right? Taking sabbaticals. And so, like, I think when one person does it, then people start to say, well, maybe it's possible that I too can do it, and that I too have a right, and I too am worthy enough to give myself that permission to do something for myself that I want, And so I was really surprised with, like, joy that people, not just were they supporting me, but they saw the value of that. And I feel like it shifted people in many ways, about things that they themselves can also do for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing. I was really, really happy.
Love it. I mean, my podcast is about courage, compassion, joy, and hope. And your story there is about courage, compassion, joy, and hope, self-compassion, courage to be doing what you're doing and being authentic self. And I want to acknowledge there may be a listener saying, yeah, you may do that, but it's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
And so what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, he knows. Okay. He knows, like, the very first, when he realized he was trying to get me to listen to my heart. And once we talked about the idea of the sabbatical, my initial response was, like, I actually got mad at him. I said, how can you even suggest this ridiculous idea? Like, are you kidding? Like, this is not allowed. This is not possible. They're going to think I'm crazy. Look, I'm even choking on this, So, like, literally, I totally rejected it because nobody does it. I felt that it's not possible. I felt that everyone will think I'm weak and I can't take it and I'm not strong. I had all these stories that I was creating, like, completely. And then I had to come back to myself and say, well, I need to honor myself. And it's about how you show up, and it's about, like, speaking, to the heart, from the heart, and not even planning it, just being open and honest. And it's amazing when you're authentic and open and honest about things that people themselves care about as well. Things happen, like things that I never, like, it's a 180 to what I initially thought. Like, I never thought people would respond this way, and then they did. And I just did one step. I just went out there. I went out on a limb.
I think that
proud of you for doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also, watching her go through her journey of from where she was to this point of actually being on the sabbatical, and just, seeing her from from the perspective of being a physician, what I noticed is that, physicians have been trained all their life. I mean, they went to school for this, right? To heal and to serve and to help others. And so they're always going to put themselves before anyone else, right? Before themselves. And with the training and all the practice, I think people forget. They just simply forget to take care of themselves. And like you said, Patrick, because you said it so well, it's all about being intentional, right? Not waiting until you get burnt out, not waiting until you feel like, okay, that's it, I'm depressed, and I'm just going to quit. I'm going to check out, right? It's about being proactive and intentional and creating something. Now, I also noticed that, there is a culture, right, in the physician world, and this, some of the characteristics in this culture, from outside, what I've seen is that there is an assumption of and if you don't, then that's not looked really good upon. And so people,
Right.
I noticed, they're not inclined to come out and be authentic. They're still kind of trying to show up as society, as the culture expects them. But what I've noticed from the outside is that the moment that she chose to have that vulnerability, that courage to show up authentically, so many of the assumptions that she's had around self-care, around sabbatical, around the support that she was going to get, they were just shattered.
Yeah.
So many of those assumptions
Wow.
were shattered because we only thought what we thought was possible is whatever we could imagine, but we could not imagine that this was possible. So I would
Wow,
highly
that's
recommend.
courage.
Yeah.
That is courage. So, and I have to apologize about the coughing. I'm actually glad I had coffee because I needed something to drink. My apologies.
See?
My apologies. My beloved guests, my job is to make sure you look good, and my job is to entertain and inform my audience. And here I am getting a cough. But hey, I've got some coffee to support me through that. So, so much wisdom you shared, the two of you, in how to be authentic, despite what the world says to you. That is wisdom. And so I want to encourage folks, it's Friday, to be thinking about how your week went. Were you able to authentically show up at work? Were you authentically able to be present to your family? And if you weren't, what are you doing about it? These are such challenging times. And for God's sakes, if you can't be yourself, then you can't be anyone else. I want to encourage folks to align and get clarity about why they're doing what they're doing. And here you are being an example of a couple getting clarity about what you want to see in life and how you can make that difference. So I'm just inspired by what you're doing. And I think I have your social media there. I do, for folks to follow your handles. So please share those handles again, because I want to encourage, it's the call to action. We'll wrap up our show here. But the call to action is for folks to follow. So what are your handles again?
So the Chris and Madalena on Instagram, that's probably the best one to follow.
Yes.
Or for me is Chris Agafi.
And for me, it's Madalena Petrescu 562. And then we're on Facebook with our same names, Chris Agafi and Madalena Petrescu. And, I think what we're doing, the leap here is that in medicine, you get trained to put yourself last, or don't even put yourself anywhere. And then you just self-care and family ends up as if you have time. And everything else, the have-tos and everything, the work is here, the center. And then ourselves and our family, if you get to it. It's totally it needs to be totally shifted to truly serve our patients. We need to be whole ourselves. We need to be healthy ourselves. So putting ourselves first means we can serve from that fullness, from that health way of being. So that's what we're doing. We're going to go fill ourselves up and just enjoy life and put ourselves first, so then we can come back and really serve others authentically from a full cup.
From an overflowing cup.
Yeah, that's so powerful. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
You saying putting yourself first doesn't mean that other people are less. It's saying that you deserve to be honored and taken care of, and taking care of yourself instead of depleting. So I just want to commend the two of you. Of course, I want to encourage folks to follow the Swift Healthcare podcast and continue to support the work we're doing with Swift Healthcare. And of course, to follow Chris and Madalena and Chris in the journey they're on. And so, on the back of my coffee mug, I've never shown this on my show. So I've got the logo on the front, but this is AMDG. It stands for Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam. To the greatest good is one way to interpret that Latin. So my prayer for you to send you off from your Seattle trip is that the greatest good come from your travels, that you may inspire others, and that folks watching the show may be inspired by what you said, what you did, by laughing at me when I'm choking on I don't know what. But being
you did say that you wanted to entertain, so
you got it
right.
Yeah. But for folks to be able to walk away with some inspiration and joy and laughter and compassion, and for this to be a bright spot in their day. So, Dr. Madalena, Chris, thank you so much for being on the show, and just wish you the best journey, that you may return with Godspeed.
Thank you, Patrick. We're super excited, and we're so honored to be part of your process and show all the things that you're doing in the world. This is really fun. Thank you.
It's an amazing journey. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. Love you both. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
All right, we'll sign out. Ciao.
Ciao.